Are you kidding me? I already wasted all my good jokes.
Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to episode 6 of Climbing the Ladder. I'm your host, ChanmanV, and joining me as always is John Clark of CSN. What's up, John?
Not much. How are you?
And Ben Nickel, aka Mr. Bitter. What's up, Ben?
Hey, Chris. Sorry I've been gone last 2 weeks.
That's alright, you know. Some people have jobs, I get it.
They get paid.
They get paid, yeah. Some people actually get paid in esports. But today we have a special treat. We've got Paulo Vascara, is that right? Vascara, aka ROOTCatZ, on to discuss a lot of things, you know, particularly the rebirth of Root Gaming and all that good stuff. How's it going, Paulo?
Good. Hey, is my camera like blurry? I'm watching the stream muted and it looks blurry. My camera.
Yeah, it's a little bit blurry, but
that's weird.
It's okay.
You're frozen on my screen.
Oh, really? No, he's actually moving on my screen.
Yeah, I'm moving. It's just like blurry. It's like bad quality. It's weird.
It's kind of, something strange there. It's kind of weird, but anyways, yeah, I mean, it's a pleasure having you on, Paulo, and I think this show is going to be a really, really good one, given Ben's back and we have Paulo on. But to start off the show, we did something new last week, which I'm going to do again. We're going to do again today. And Ben, I'm not sure you're aware of it or not, but we started.
I thought we always started with misconceptions.
Yeah, we did before.
We scrapped that after the first 2 weeks.
Well, it's like the same things are coming up, you know, like all the time. So we will talk about misconceptions, but I figured a good way to kind of start things off, get the energy going, is we do this kind of speed topics type of segment where we kind of go through 5 topics in the news, and each of us just give a 30-second response to it. So we just briefly cover it.
Yeah, let me grab my watch.
All right, you ready? All right, we're gonna start with John. We'll have John.
Let's talk about your shirt first.
My shirt?
Your shirt.
Yeah, here we go.
What's going on with Chanman's shirt?
Virgin Comics, baby.
Oh, I could just see Virgin.
Jeez, man. But all right, let's get this. So let's start it off. We're gonna do the speed topics, and why don't we start it off with? We're gonna hit you first, Ben, and then we'll go Ben, John, then Paulo. All right, MLG Arena. What'd you think?
That happened?
Oh man. Did you catch any of the games?
A little bit. I was really pleased to see Violet doing as well as he did. It was awesome.
Awesome, John?
Well, of course I'm very happy about Violet doing well. I followed it. I followed most of it on Team Liquid. Through Liquipedia, I did not tune in to actually see the matches, but it was definitely awesome to see Violet win. I thought it went well for him.
Paulo?
Surprised he won, but I'm glad he won too. He's a cool guy and a good friend.
Can we talk about? Sorry. Can we talk about how how typical it is for Stefano to wake up drunk on the day of the finals, like he does every major tournament?
Right, but you can't use it as an excuse if you do it every time.
That's true. When he wins, you know, that's his reason for winning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was happy to see Violet win too. Some of those games, I didn't catch them like very many, but some of the games I caught, like Polt versus who is it? Polt versus
MC.
Sorry, what was that?
MC maybe?
No, it wasn't MC. It was Polt versus. God, who was it?
DRG.
Violet.
It was DRG, I think. Yeah. Polt versus DRG were sick games, and then even the symbol games were pretty freaking sick. So, yeah, definitely some great matches if you guys missed it. But oh well. All right, next topic: GSL finals. Paulo, let's just start with that.
I didn't watch.
All right. Ben, did you watch it?
No, I didn't watch, but of course I kept up with it. It's cool, epic, one of the best finals ever, I think.
Yeah, definitely. John, you watch GSL much?
Don't even ask.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean.
Fucking battle cruisers, man. Why would you make that many battle cruisers?
Exactly. Oh man, the Squirtle going down 3-0.
Okay, so wait. Drury said when he watched that that many battle cruisers is invincible. It's just that he messed it up. The vortex was too good, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, that number of battle cruisers. He
didn't have enough ghosts.
I don't know.
He didn't have Viking.
Should get Ruby on here too, man.
That many battle cruisers? I don't think so. I would say equal cost of Void Rays will probably kill that many battle cruisers.
Yeah, you just need to EMP the mothership.
Even with cannon, you think?
What the fuck is a cannon gonna do against that many battle cruisers?
I don't know. I mean, it's like if you hit a cannon on each one of them, I feel like it's not gonna equal out.
Oh, a Yamato cannon.
Yeah, Yamato.
I thought you were talking about a photon cannon.
No, not a photon cannon. No. But yeah, I mean, Brett, that was pretty crazy. And if Squirtle would have won, I think it would have been like, I think it would have been the best finals ever if Squirtle would have pulled that last game off. That would have been sweet. All right, moving on to the next one. OGS disbanding. Ben?
It's obviously very sad. It's just kind of part of, it's part of the life of, it's kind of business. They weren't making money, so they had to go away.
Yeah, Paulo?
Yeah, pretty sad. Pretty sad. Not. I don't know if I'm super sad about the players or the team, but I'm sad about sponsors pulling out of esports, and but I think they'll end up regretting it because
they didn't pull out of esports. They pulled out of StarCraft.
Well, okay. They pulled out of esports.
That's
the only esport I care about.
Right.
They pulled out of my esports.
Right, John?
Yeah, I think it sucks, but like Mr. Bitter says, it's kind of part of what happens. It is too bad that they're going to pull out of StarCraft 2. Hopefully they'll get back in another way, but we'll see.
Yeah, for me it's kind of sad to see OGS go down, since OGS was, I feel like, the first kind of big Korean team I was following when we first got into SC2. So, man, those days are long gone apparently for OGS. So, okay, Kespa Pro League and those guys playing StarCraft 2. Did y'all catch any of that?
Yeah.
Paulo?
A little bit.
No.
No. Okay, Ben, did you watch any of it?
Yeah. It's really cool. I think it's going to be very, very short amount of time before those guys are all better than the current SC2 guys.
So they're half-halfing it right now, right? Doing both?
Yeah, all the interviews say it's about 80-20.
Okay, 80-20. Yeah, watching
80-20 StarCraft 2 or 80-20...
80-20 with an emphasis on StarCraft 2.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, watching J-Dom play Zerg was pretty cool. But yeah, but they still got a ways to go, so it'll be interesting to see how long it takes for them to get right back in the swing of things against the current Korean players that are dominating StarCraft 2. All right, I think was that 5 or no, last one here. Okay, so I have. What do you think? Why do you think of EG and Slayers teaming up for GSTL? And I guess the concept is just teams, foreign teams and Korean teams joining up in that competition. Paulo?
I think that's good. I like it. I'm glad for EG. I hope many of the players get to play though. That's the harder part, I think, because I'm sure the Slayers coach is gonna be making the calls.
Right. Ben?
It's okay. It's just kind of old news. It's been done a couple times already. Maybe it'll be awesome. Maybe it won't be. We'll see.
John?
I mean, you've got Sase and Naniwa over there with Quantic and Startail, and you've never seen those guys play.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to say that they won't, but I mean, those are probably two of the best foreigners on the planet.
Right, John?
Yep.
Well, it's definitely an easy way to get results. Not necessarily coming from EG players, but it's a way to get results, I suppose. I don't know. I mean, I guess it is what it is. Like, it's been done before, so.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of feel the same with these guys. It'd be better if we actually had full foreigner teams representing themselves versus this.
I'm more excited. We got with Fanatics over there. They're gonna be playing.
Yeah, Fnatic will be playing, and that's great. But it'd be great if it's hard. I know it is hard just with logistics.
Well, Fnatic is a foreign brand, but it's not really a foreign team. I mean, they might feel taught, but.
Well, you can almost say that about
they've got
every team.
Moon and Alive, but I mean the rest of their team's pretty much foreigners.
What? No, they have Todd. That's it. Todd and Night End are the only foreigners. Everyone else in Fnatic is Korean.
Hang on.
Yeah, but how many more players do they have? I mean, they only have like a 5-man team, 6.
They have Rain.
No, they have like 6 or 7.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah, they have a bunch of Koreans, just lesser, not as well known.
Satini is on Fnatic, so there you go. Wait, no, he's not.
No, I didn't know that.
Who?
Satini.
No, he's not.
No,
I lied. I'm wrong.
It's just Night End and Todd.
Yeah, you're right.
I doubt Night End will replace, so maybe we'll see Todd. Maybe.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. Nighting's a beast.
Nighting is a beast. He's been playing awesome lately, so it'd be cool to see Sylvie play some.
He's an angel.
He is. Nobody's got a better accent than Sylvie, too, man. That guy's accent is awesome. But okay, I guess we're gonna conclude the speed rounds there. That was nice and quick. But there wasn't too many things going on this week, so I kind of figured it'd go that way.
You don't want to talk about the MLG teaming up with Kespa?
We already talked about it last week, but yeah, sure, we can talk about that too.
I just wanted to get Mr. Bitter's take on it.
All right, what do you? Yeah, actually, Ben, why don't you start off with that?
You work carefully.
Yeah. We don't still know. Well, I think it's pretty obvious what exclusivity means. So we're going to be seeing Kespa players playing in only MLG events in terms of foreign stuff. I suspect Sundance has said that he's trying to work with some of the big players and get some sort of exchange program going. But it kind of frightens me as somebody that works for a company that's not MLG,
Yeah.
But
Destiny wrote a nice blog about that. I think
Destiny wrote a blog about that?
He did. It was a really good one.
Yeah, it was actually really good.
It was a good one. Yeah.
Really good.
Is it the one that was like asking for Boss's opinion?
Yeah, well, he said Boss, Sundance, or
Yeah.
I don't know,
Okay.
or maybe Russ.
I didn't realize he wrote that.
What's interesting too is I read an article the other day, or yesterday actually, where Sundance talks about it a little bit more. I can't remember who did the interview, but there was some really good things in there that if you were reading and you didn't really know kind of MLG from the past, you'd be reading going, oh, this sounds great, I mean, they want to cater to the base, try to work with other organizations, but I think we all kind of get an idea of where it might be going. That's unfortunate.
I'm not going to say unfortunate.
Yeah.
Boss chimed in the blog that you guys are talking about and said something that I think is pretty relevant. It's a deal. It'll last X amount of time, and then we'll see.
And somebody else can come along and do it better. So it does make sense,
Yeah, a lot of times things start out with exclusivity, but in the end it ends up the other organizations in tournament organizers, they'll survive during that kind of exclusivity period.
They'll survive for as long as the Brood War pros aren't as good as the rest. When the Brood War pros become the best of the best, then the exclusivity stuff it really says, okay, this is the only legitimate league, basically, because this is where the big dogs play.
Well, I just look at the past and what they did with Halo and how that turned out, and that bothers me to think that could be exactly what would happen with StarCraft 2.
But then again, the Halo
what do you
thing
mean, John?
was that a bad thing? Well, they had exclusivity, like they bought all the Halo teams basically, so every Halo team belonged to MLG. But at the same time, without MLG, would have Halo been big at all?
No, this is true, and that's very true. But it's unfortunate because there wasn't any way to work it out so that it didn't have to be exclusive, but yet MLG could still be the big dog on campus, and that's fine. But they didn't work it out, and then guess what happened when they dropped Halo? It's non-existent. There's nothing.
Right.
They didn't know where to go. They didn't know what to do. They didn't have any community involvement because MLG had basically enslaved them for 7 years, and then when they let them go, they were done.
Okay, well, that's.
It's just a fear. I'm not saying that's what would happen. It's just when you look at that, it just kind of is like, I hope that's not where the direction is going.
Well, but I mean, that is where the direction is going, but it's not fair to call that a bad thing. That's what everybody wants. NBA teams don't play in, fucking, I don't know what another basketball league is.
Yeah.
There's every league wants to be that. Everybody wants. Right. You're shitting yourself if you don't think NASL's ever sat down and said, okay, what can we do to make it so that we're the only thing people play in?
Right.
The way that you do that is by offering teams and players the money that it takes to make it worthwhile for them. My answer from the beginning is, as somebody that doesn't work for MLG, it makes me a little bit nervous because it's potentially a really big deal. If MLG becomes, MLG is already probably top dog, but I mean, if they truly were to become the only league that you can watch where you can see these guys play, then that cements them as the major leagues, whereas everybody else is just, is not.
Chilling.
Well, I mean, that's
Yeah.
all assuming that. I mean, of course, I mean, given the current state that the Koreans aren't going to be the top players in the world. I mean, that's all assuming that, right? I mean, if the top players somehow end up being, like, say, an American or a European, then that's not going to be. There won't be an exclusivity in that from that standpoint, right? Like, for instance, like Stefano. Let's say Stefano just ends up being, I don't know, the best player in the world for some reason.
But the Brood War teams are going to be the best teams. It's not because the players are more talented. It's because of the way the teams are run. I mean, you're talking about, more than 10 years of, dedication and development. This like the comparison that I would make is comparing it to like the way athletes in America train. Like fighters, for example. Every internationally acclaimed fighter comes to the States to train because this is where fighters are trained. This is where we know how to be the best and whatever else. That's what the Kespa houses are. It's a world-class training facility of sorts.
Yeah, I think CatZ had an opinion on that like 2 years ago.
What?
Are you talking to? Are you talking
Are
in third
you
person?
talking in third person?
I do that sometimes.
Are you talking about that fucking thing that you posted talking about how the Koreans need to stop competing in our tournaments?
Yeah.
Fuck my life. Would you like to revisit that for everybody that's listening?
Yeah.
That's too long of a speech. I think they should just check it out on YouTube, maybe.
Unfortunately, I think I actually agree a little bit with that.
Same here.
It's just unfortunate the water's been a bit poisoned already, if with lack of a better analogy. So it's tough to kind of overcome that at this point, given that the Koreans are all over the tournaments now, and it's.
Yeah, but then again, the second thing to think about is, would you watch a tournament with a lot of Koreans in it, or would you watch a tournament with a lot of foreigners in it? And I think for most people, foreigners are more attractive. So
Yeah.
I don't know if
agree.
if it took this route, then an ASL could just get exclusivity with foreign teams, and then I think they would actually get bigger numbers than MLG.
I don't think so. There's certain people that feel that way, Paulo. I personally prefer to watch foreign events, but that's because I typically have some level of connection to most of the players. There's a lot of people out there, that prefer watching the Korean games simply because they're better games. And
yeah, but say if there was a separation, and then like say in WCG you could still see the foreigners pit against the Koreans. It would kind of be like they have in baseball, like two different leagues.
Yeah, like
right?
the Olympics.
Or like the Olympics, or just anything, like any sport in general. Like they all have their regional leagues. And if that happened, I think people would watch both.
Yeah.
As long as they wouldn't be stupid enough. Not any big organization would be stupid enough to pit their events against others, because then they'll both lose money. So I'm sure the people would watch both events, and then they would like to see how the foreigners fare against the Koreans in bigger events.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing where it's like for me at least, it's like my brain and my head, I want to see like the best players kind of play, but my heart's always with like the NA players or the European players. I definitely want to see a foreigner do well. And
but we're never going to be able to
hit South Americans.
We're never going to be able to hit that reset button, man, because it's already, we're already at this point where every league that doesn't have Koreans is not legit, and every tournament that doesn't have a foreigner playing in it is boring. I guess you can make the exception the GSL, since it's kind of heralded as the biggest and best league. But
yeah, I mean, and I kind of agree with that, but I think tournaments could do, tournaments that I guess aren't MLG and IPLs, they could just be selective about how many Koreans they invite. I've had this concept of just validating your tournament by having a few, so that whenever somebody does beat a Korean, it's more meaningful because they don't have to face another 4 Koreans right after to like actually win a tournament. I mean, they just have to beat 1 or 2, and then they can win a tournament. It'd be nice to see more events, the kind of quote-unquote smaller events doing that, instead of like inviting the whole, just going after like 10 of the top Koreans. And all you ever see is like top 8 is the same Koreans over and over again, right?
And Stefano.
If he's not drunk. But yeah, and Stefano. But, all right, guys. Why don't we just kind of start actually segment into the topics we wanted to talk about today, which was with Paulo, and really having him go through the history of Root and maybe some of the lessons you've learned along the way, and obviously come all the way to the point today where we have the rebirth of Root gaming. And yeah, I think it'd be great for you to kind of walk through that with us.
Okay, cool.
So how did it start? How did Root start? And back, how many years ago was it now? Like 2.5 years now, or?
Yeah, over 2 years. I think, right? We started early in the beta, so whenever that was.
Right, it was you and Drewby, right? That you and Drew started.
Someone's watching a video. What?
Sorry, that was me.
So you and Drew
Yeah.
started Root gaming.
It's okay.
Right?
I'm not interesting then.
No, I clicked on something and it started to play.
Right.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was me and Drewy and this other guy that was gonna help us admin stuff, but he didn't do much. Then we got QXC was our first recruit, and yeah, he was like top on his diamond division at the time. Well, there was only diamond. Diamond
right?
was yeah. So we were looking at QXC and a couple other people, and there was this guy Sensei who had like a winning record against QXC, and he broke even with Drewy and I. Drewy and I both beat QXC, but QXC was like super fast, and he was like really, like his ideas. Yeah, he was super tryharding. He like, I don't know. We just saw a lot of potential in him, so we recruited him over the other guy, and then we got Chef. And then, well, I could go on. I get like about each player that we recruited and why we recruited them. So I guess I just won't. And then we got Chef, who was trying to get signed by Fnatic at the time, but Fnatic was like, I don't know if he'll be good enough. And I was like, hey, Sean, you will be good enough. Come with us. And he did. And then we got Cotton Lock, I think. Cotton Lock was like first on Idris ladder division, so he was like pretty hyped, but I played him and I beat him 3-1, and then I asked him to join, and he was like had no choice because he had like no practice partners. Then we got then we played a lot of tournaments, like this 3 Cellman tournaments. And it was like me, Chef, and Drury was our A team, and we won every single one of them except for the ones where Slush was at. We would always meet Slush's team at the end. And it was like Slush and 2 guys from Quebec. And we would always destroy the guys from Quebec, Freds, and I can't remember who else. And then Slush would always kill the 3 of us. So I was like, you know what? There's only one solution to this, and we got Slush to join.
And all this, this is all grassroots, right? Nobody's getting paid, no sponsors.
No,
this is just like small team type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Were you thinking big at the time, or were you guys just like, well, let's just get a team together and have fun? Or were you thinking business-wise? Were you thinking, let's turn this into something big?
When we started, when we had plans to make Root, it was as soon as StarCraft 2 was announced in Brood War. I played 2v2 with Drury, and we were like, you know what? When StarCraft 2 comes out, let's start like strong from the start and make the best team in North America. So we always had that goal, but we never thought about money from the start, because we didn't know how big it was gonna get, or like didn't imagine like what StarCraft 2 is today. But we definitely wanted the best team, so we recruited based on both potential and commitment. So anyone who had a lot of time to commit and had the potential to become a good player and wanted to be a professional gamer was led in Root. And yeah. So then we got like Kiwi. He was the hardest to get. He took like 2 weeks, but I was first. Yeah, he was. Everyone else was like pretty fast, but Kiwi was like the second in the division that I was first, and he kept asking me for practice games. I mean, he always beat me, but he didn't have any other practice partners, so like he eventually decided to join.
So at what point did you start thinking about it from the standpoint of a business, and maybe start hiring actual managers or picking up managers at least? It's still grassroots at this point, right?
Yeah, we probably started thinking about business once our players started getting offers from other teams, which was pretty early on. It was like EG tried to basically absorb our entire squad. Complexity wanted our squad from the start. Just a lot of smaller teams and teams that you will never hear of, and like offered us travel and stuff like that. And then that was as a team, right? EG wanted us, Complexity wanted us, but as individuals, every one of us had offers as well. So people would come, and Chef would come, and QXC would come, and they would be like, "Oh, I just got offered $300 a month, and I won't take it, but how are we doing?"
Yeah.
Right.
So they were pretty loyal for a while, correct?
Oh yeah. No, pretty much forever. I'm sorry. Let me hang up. Yeah. I mean, they were pretty loyal, all of them, for a long time. I think the team stayed together for at least 1 year. Then we got like Destiny and Minigun, and the first unloyal person we got was Major Kitty. He left the first offer.
Shocker.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Despite when you joined Root, you got a speech by me on like loyalty and how we need to stick together if we want to like make it grow. And there's a video interview of Artosis interviewing Kiwikaki at GSL that always like gives me like chills, because Kiwi's a pretty shy and reserved guy, and when Artosis asks him about Root, he's like, like we're a team of friends and we've been friends for a long time now, and we want to be the next new team in North America. We don't want to get absorbed. We want to stay together. I don't know, just the way he says it, it's really touching, and that's kind of the team spirit that we had for a long time.
Do you think that's something that's missing in some of the big teams that are out there now? Just that team unity, like, you know what, we're going to do this together, and I know we're going to get a bunch of other offers and things like this, but we're going to do this because we're friends and we're loyal to each other. Do you think some of that's missing?
Yeah, well, the big difference between the other teams and Root is Root acquired talent and we grew together as players, whereas the other big teams will just buy players that are proven to be good. So yeah, I mean, when you buy a squad, like for example, EG did a good thing in buying a squad of friends already, but nonetheless, it was friends that were proven to be good. So I think the system that we had made it so that our egos aren't as big, and we're more a little bit committed to the team and to our friendship than to money that we haven't had from the start, or travel or that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of this stuff I think is really great for a lot of management and owners of small teams right now to hear. And I guess my question to you is, whenever I know Sheth at one point went to FXO, right? From Root, was that right? I think Sheth was it FXO that he went to?
Can you hand me later? Chef, where did Chef go? Did he go to FXO?
I think.
And Kevin followed shortly after, right? Or it was like 6 months later. Yeah. Okay. So Chef got an offer from FXO, and that's like his third or fourth offer, and we it was the same with QXC. They basically both told us, you know what, like, I'm not making money, like at this time streaming is not big or anything like that, right? And I want to live off of this, so what are we doing? And we were like, okay, give us X amount of time, and if we don't, then you're more than welcome to leave. And I think that's what happened with Sean, and but it's still like it's hard to say stuff like that, because they were incredibly loyal people. Like they all refused so many offers that like it's unfair to say, yeah, Chef, what's this, just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to say that they were unloyal. I'm just trying to say, like, this is the challenge that every small team has right now, right? That there's going to be better offers from other teams, and I think it would be great, like, for folks to maybe learn that, just learn kind of like, I guess, how much loyalty actually can buy you, I guess, or what kind of things you can do to really keep this kind of closeness within a team. Because right now I think it's even harder of an environment than when you were out back when you started Root, right? When there was not very many teams at all.
No, I think, well, competitively wise, yeah, of course it's a lot harder, but there's a lot more money in StarCraft now than there was back then. So I'm confident that it would be a lot easier to find sponsors based off of just sheer numbers that we can, you know, reach out to than back then.
Right.
Because back then it's like no one streams, and it's like, you know, like like I got 1,000 views on my stream, and now it's like I have 11 million views on my stream, and you know, and Rotterdam just started streaming, and then Destiny has 4 times as much viewers as me, and then Drew has like half my views, and ROOTCatZ has the biggest fan club, and you know, it's I think number-wise, it's a lot easier to push sponsors than back then.
Right. Okay, so yeah, so talk to me about kind of that period where you know Root did, I wouldn't say you guys didn't officially get absorbed by Complexity, did you? I mean, it was more just Root disassembled, and then
sort of. It was a thing of. Drew and I had a long talk about it at the time. It was like, okay, like, what are we doing here? Like, because it was really discouraging because our PokerStars sponsorship fell through because it didn't happen because PokerStars got shut down in North America, and that was a really promising sponsor, right? Like we had a trial period, and we destroyed it, man. Like they had us run like free rolls on PokerStars.
Right.
And one time they messed up, and they gave us like a 2-hour notice, and we filled it in 2 hours. You know, we filled their free rolls, so they were pretty impressed, and they like removed the cap for the free rolls, and they were already giving us a tiny sum of money per month. And if it happened, it would have been a huge sponsorship. But then they got shut down in North America, and since we're a North America-based team, our hopes went down with PokerStars pretty much.
Okay, so back then, I mean, there weren't. you know, I'm having a hard time remembering, like, but there weren't sponsors like Razer and SteelSeries and all those guys that seem to be sponsoring a lot of teams these days. Were they not looking to sponsor teams at the time?
I'm sure that they were around, but you know, it's different. Like the offers that we would get back then, it was like if anyone got offered $500 a month, it would be like, holy shit, are you kidding me? You know, like that's like double the biggest salary of a foreign Brood War player. So, you know, it was amazing. So everything has just grown. I mean, it would have been easy to get a gear sponsorship, but that would have just made it so that we can't get an actual sponsorship.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure they were around, but I'm sure they're around in a much larger capacity these days.
Oh, they definitely are, I think.
Any comments, Ben or John? Before we kind of...
No, not at this point.
Okay, cool.
No, that's a good story.
Yeah. So at the point where you guys disbanded. Oh, actually, kind of look back. So we're kind of at the point where you guys disbanded, and obviously you went to Complexity with Ruby and QXC. At that point, looking back on it, is there anything you would have done different?
Through a minigun.
Oh, and minigun too. Sorry. At that point, is there anything you'd want to do differently? Looking back on it, or I mean, is there any inkling in your mind that we should have just kept going with what we were doing, and eventually gotten to like today where you're kind of restarting Root Gaming again. I mean, do you have any regrets with that decision, or?
A little bit. I mean, Complexity has been great to us, and like for that we're thankful. I never really wanted to disband Root, but our options were limited, and like losing QXC and we couldn't, like, Slush doesn't make money off of poker. He doesn't stream a lot, so he really needed a salary at the time, and we decided it would be best for everyone. Now, that's not to say that if we had stayed together, like, we wouldn't have kept the same squad, being Kiwi, Minion, myself, Drury, and Slush. I think that would have happened. And even with Complexity, like when we decided to go to Complexity, Kiwi and Slush and Didoro were in the initial deal, as well as Destiny. But then Kiwi and Slush got a better offer once we pretty much, decided that we were disbanded. And so they went with Rain instead. And Drew, myself, and Minigun went to Complexity. Didoro went to Vile, and Destiny stayed solo. Well, he went to Complexity for 2 days and then stayed solo.
Right.
So looking at that, I mean, all the names that you listed, it sounds like those that went to Complexity kind of ended up getting the better deal because of, obviously what happened with Rain and everything like that. So it sounds like those that went to Complexity kind of came out in the end a little bit better. Obviously Destiny with his own thing obviously did really well, but do you feel like you guys at that time with everything that was happening, do you feel like that was probably the best decision for you guys?
Maybe that at that point in time, I don't like having regrets, but I mean I have no doubt that if we had stuck together, then we probably would have gotten sponsors by now, and it's been a year, so there's always the potential in what could have been, but I'm happy where we're at now, and Complexity really made it easier, and at a point in time where it was getting really stressful for myself and Drury because we didn't have really the management staff or the experience that you need to approach sponsors and be full-on esports organization. So we were doing everything ourselves, like with Edward, like he was helping us do the sponsorship deck, and all that stuff, all the business side absorbed a lot of time, and at the same time, like we wanted to be players first. And so yeah, no regrets in that. I mean, it would have taken a lot of effort. Yeah, right now it's completely different because we actually realize that we can't do it ourselves. Like we don't know that stuff. And like right now, managing Root is gonna be one of my best friends in real life who like graduated from one of the best business schools in Peru, or the best business school in Peru, and he's just amazing at that stuff. So. And he likes StarCraft as well, he's into it, he knows the name, so we've been doing research, and we just understand at this point that we kind of have to be like, okay, you know what, we can't be the owners, you have to be part owner, but, like when it grows, then it'll pay off, and for now, just, do you want to do this? And he was like, yeah, and that's pretty much it. I mean, we're getting all the help we can. I guess we're more humble in that way, and
somebody asked in the chat a good question that actually applies to now. We might as well just ask it now. But what is the plan with sponsors, with getting sponsors, with the fact that you do have Destiny on the team? Do you feel that's an issue? Are there going to be different sorts of sponsors that you're going after? How are you going to deal with the possible backlash of Destiny being on the team?
I think we can figure that out. I mean, I think as many sponsors as Destiny would help us not get, he would help us get in other ways, because his numbers are the biggest out of anyone on the team, and pretty much out of anyone in esports or in StarCraft. So I think it's a double-edged sword with Destiny, but it's not like we would do anything about it. We wouldn't drop Destiny because we are not getting the sponsors that we would get without him, because he's a friend and he's loyal and he's been with the team and he's never asked for anything really.
Yeah, and that's really cool. I mean, that's a really cool thing. I mean, obviously being loyal from that standpoint, from the owner standpoint too.
What's the goal for your team, CatZ? Because I mean, on the one side you say you want to grow it, and on the other you're saying that friendship and loyalty is more important.
Well, I think we can grow it and keep friendship and loyalty. I think even that kind of thing could be attractive to sponsors, because I think the thing about Root and why like our team is a fan favorite to some extent is just the personalities and the the chemistry that we've always had as a team, and all the ideas that we're discussing right now. Like how we grew and how we've always been the underdog and all that stuff. That gets us a lot of support from the community, and it's what has always kept Root running, or it's what kept Root running before, rather. So I think it'll be fine. I think we can keep those what do you call that, values, and still grow the team.
Culture kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned before, like one of the things that was impeding you guys before was that you guys just wanted to be players and didn't want to have to deal with management, doing the management aspect or the business side of it. and now it's changed, right? So I kind of want to ask you in particular. I mean, how has that changed for you personally? Because you are in this unique position where you're kind of player owner, you're player owner. Actually, that's exactly what you are. So how has that changed for you now?
Well, I'm putting a lot of time into Root right now. We have meetings on the weekend, and we have meetings over Skype with our management, and we have like all this stuff to do. And I'm also a media arts and animation major, so I do all the splash screens and all that stuff as well. So it's a lot of work, but I think it'll get easier. So I'm not too concerned with it. We'll obviously need a player manager that to schedule clan wars and events and book the hotels and the flights and all that stuff, but that's all down the line. And until we can afford that sort of thing, then we're just gonna have to put in the extra amount of work ourselves.
But you still plan on being full out pro gamer?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Outside of gaining sponsorship, do you guys have any other ideas on ways that you can generate revenue from maybe what you guys are doing and put it into the team itself? Like put it into a pot, like percentage of each of your guys' revenue from the stream or whatever. I mean, is it just going to be based on what you guys can get from sponsors, or have you thought about other ways that you guys can create revenue?
No, I think again, being a fan favorite team and that kind of stuff will help us a lot with the revenue, because we can easily, I think, sell shirts and stuff like that, and that's actually really profitable. Now we're looking into ways other than the the standard print section or whatever the websites that sell the shirts for you are, because I think the base amount of money that you have to invest is like $16, and then you sell the shirts for $20, and you're making like $4 or $3 a shirt. So it's not super profitable. But we're based off of Peru now, and our cotton is really good, and our materials are really good, and printing and all that shit is cheap. So if we can figure out a way, and we've been looking into ways to export merchandise from here and put it in the warehouse in the U.S. where they can distribute it from there, then that would be a lot more profitable and a lot better quality as well. So we'll look into that. We'll probably start with the standard size that every other team uses, but down the line we're looking at other options as well to profit from and maximize profit. So talk to me a little bit about kind of how the team is going to become better as players. Because I remember back in the day, watching a lot of y'all's Root sessions. I mean, the great thing was, I knew I could just get online and I could always see, yourself, QXC, Sheth, all talking strategy, all talking theory, all practicing against each other, just every single day. Are we going to see more of that? Are we going to see kind of, I think, something analogous to like those EG sessions that we see every once in a while? When all of them are streaming at once, and it's just basically a big practice session that's actually cross team too. It's not just within EG. Are we going to see more of those type of things with you guys, or is it, Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to see a lot of that. We obviously need a deeper lineup. We have a lot of Zergs right now, so we need a Protoss and another Protoss and maybe a Terran or two to make that more viable. But also, right this second, there's a lot of Diablo stuff happening. So Slosh is playing Diablo, Vibe is playing Diablo, Drew is playing Diablo right this second. So, everyone's playing Diablo for at least a couple more weeks, I think, or a week more. And then when it cools off, I think we're gonna see a lot of that, and we're gonna get a lot more organized with our practice regimes.
Yeah, Blizzard coming out with Diablo a few weeks before Anaheim. That's just like. That's been pretty distracting, I think, for a lot of players.
Are you able to support your players in any way, CatZ? Like, can you cover travel for somebody like Vibe to get to an Anaheim?
Yes, we will be able to. That sounds very general. We're getting sponsored by Twitch. We haven't, I guess, officially announced it, but it's a pretty standard sponsorship.
We'll keep that.
We'll keep that under wraps.
Yeah, keep that under wraps. On the down low.
Yeah, thousands of people watching, just don't say anything.
Doesn't
right?
leave this conversation. Yeah.
So we'll see a couple Root players at the GESL event after the MLG event, correct? The following week in Anna.
I don't know what that is, but
I'll let you know.
we obviously haven't started anything yet, so Anaheim, we're not sending anyone there. But from there on, you know, like we're doing everything right. Like we had a meeting for like 7 or 8 hours on Saturday, and we figured out budgets and all that stuff. So we know what steps we need to take and where our money is going to be allocated. Our budget, like our goal is pretty ridiculous. Like we're not even close to where we need to be in order to have a fully functional team like we wanted to run. But for the time being, yeah, we'll be able to help Vive and Slush and maybe a few more players get to events and perhaps a small salary for 1 or 2 of them.
So we'll see Root players at all the events the remaining of the year, like MLG events and IPL events?
Our budget is every MLG and 1 IPL. I'm not sure if they have more than 1 IPL spent though. But yeah. So far,
okay.
Anyways. If we get another sponsor, sure, you'll see them everywhere.
So what are your thoughts of I think I already know your thoughts, but I'm going to ask you anyways. So what are your thoughts about picking up Korean players?
No, you don't know my thoughts, Chanman.
Okay.
I have nothing against Korean players. Select is one of my best friends. That was a
Come on.
What?
Yeah, but
Okay.
no, like nothing against Korean players. It's a possibility once our budget grows bigger. Obviously, we got to take care of the people that we have right now first. So yeah, you know, Koreans or Europeans or a top-notch American, maybe down the line when we can afford to do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, my question was more geared towards, you know, what are your thoughts on bringing them in? I mean, is it more to like, you know, kind of bring in that kind of, you know, maybe just the experience they have to maybe help improve your, I don't know, maybe your practice regimen, or is it purely just, you know, like some other teams I feel like are picking up Koreans just for results, you know, just purely as results and helping with sponsors and that type of thing.
If we pick up a Korean or a European or anything, like we always are gonna be looking for synergy with the team. So if we pick up a Korean, we'll likely look for one that speaks good English and can, you know, blend well with the team, kind of like what Team Liquid does, as opposed to what other teams do.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Guys, you got some more comments, or let's see. I'm trying to look at my topics here.
I guess I'm too good at speaking because your co-hosts are pretty quiet.
Yes, they are. And Ben being quiet is like a first, man.
No. I mean, it's mostly CatZ just telling his story. I mean,
yeah.
It's it's cool. I mean, Root's it's been a big part of the community. Then it was gone, and now it's coming back. I mean, I have reservations about how successful it can be because, just because of how hard it is to start a team. But I mean, I've said for weeks that the proper way to do something is to establish your talent first and then seek sponsorship and not vice versa. So, I mean, the fact that Paulo's doing it that way is something that I applaud and I respect. It's a tough hustle, man. So I hope it works, and I wish you all the success in the world. I mean,
thank you. I mean, we're working on our sponsorship deck right now on our website. We're not really going to be actively seeking sponsors until we have everything in place. And then when we do, I think our sponsorship deck, I think we can offer as much exposure as any team out there. You know, like sponsors look at numbers, and we got numbers.
Yeah.
Do you think that? Do you think that your experience at Complexity is going to help you in kind of organizing this and getting everything ready to basically be presented to sponsors and whatnot? I mean, was there anything at Complexity that will help you as kind of the manager / player?
We learn from everyone. We acknowledge that we're not the most experienced people out there. Jason Lake was kind enough to offer help if we needed any, like, guidance-wise, and Jason Bass already, like, when we were doing the budgets and stuff like that, I asked Jason Bass for help with that, and I was like, I listed what I had, you know, what we had listed in our budget, and he was like, yeah, you got all the major things covered. You could add this, and you know, like, if we need help, we'll get it. We're not arrogant in that sense. So yeah, I think we can learn a little bit from everyone. I think we can learn from Alex Garfield. I think we can learn from Jason Lake and Bass and Odie from Dignitas, and I think there's a lot to learn all over the place.
Good.
So talk to me a little bit about going back to Peru too, and obviously Drewby's over there too now, and being based out of Peru.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned that some of the things like cotton and that type of thing might be cheaper there, but overall I feel like traveling is definitely going to be more expensive, right? For you guys to even just come to U.S. events.
Do you feel that way?
I think. I mean, isn't that right? I mean, it's
yeah, it's absolutely right. Yeah, travel is going to be more expensive for us, but at the same time, just the cost of the cost of living here is cheap. Internet kind of messed everything up because it's actually really expensive, but everything else makes a little bit makes up a little bit for that, and the environment that we're going to have here, I think it's going to help us grow as professional gamers and grow our brand. It's just a nice environment. Like we're gonna have a maid working here every day and stuff like that. We don't, we can just sit and do what we have to do, and it's nice to have contrary to the U.S. for the most part. Like I've lived there for a few years, and here, the distances are close. On the weekends, if we want to have fun and relax, we can really easily just go to my friend's house or to a bar or a club, and the beach is closed, and there's a lot of things to see and a lot of stuff to do. So I think living in Peru is going to be really good. It's proven so far. So
do you have any plans of bringing more players to Peru?
Yeah, so I was just going to ask too.
Yeah,
I was going to ask that too. Maybe in the future, maybe in another year. If we can get a sponsor to perhaps cover Team House in the future, then yeah, it's definitely a possibility. I mean, I don't think players are too concerned as to where they live. I mean, there are players who have moved to Germany. There's a Team House starting in Poland. Peru can be a really comfortable place to live for a pro gamer. So perhaps down the line we'll look into that, but it's not an immediate concern.
Okay, awesome. Let's see. I don't have any other topics here for CatZ. The CatZ just kind of blew through those really well. So, if you guys have anything else,
I don't have any, but I'm sure that people will have some questions.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have Q&A at the end of this with where the viewers can ask CatZ and all of us any questions, but. Why don't we move on for now? I kind of wanted to save some time for Ben to talk about the player house, that he's at and managing right now, and have him kind of update us on how that's going.
Okay.
So Ben, why don't you start?
It's going very well.
All right.
What would you like to know?
Just how are the players doing? How many players? I mean, just for folks that haven't been really keeping up with the thread and everything. Just kind of.
Well, we haven't released any information in a long time. We're going to the beach today to film some interviews, and hopefully those will be up.
Will you be wearing Speedos?
Oh, please not.
It's a nude beach.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, good Lord.
No, hopefully those will be up. We'll have to get them cut and edited and all that, but hopefully tonight, maybe tomorrow. The guys, there's 4 guys here. They've been working very hard. They've been playing in the lands around Southern California. You guys, everybody seems to know that Beastie's here. He's one of the guys in the house, Beastie QT of Team Empire. He's got he's got a 2nd place finish and a 3rd place finish since being here, so he's continuing to play well. He's the best player in the house, but every day the other guys here get closer to him.
Rooter them especially.
Rooters.
So what's the regiment like for them? I mean, is it like an online tournament every day, or a land, at least one kind of competition type every day, and then practice, just a lot of practicing outside of that?
They owe me 2 online events a week.
Okay.
Each player does, but the real brunt of their practice regimen is they owe me 8 hours a day, Wednesday through Sunday. And it's wake up every day at 10, do the chores, eat your breakfast, go to the gym, and then 12 to 8's practice time, and then we come back and after 8 o'clock, we either film some stuff or you know, just it's free time at that point. I mean, they've all been sticking to it and doing what they're supposed to do, and I haven't had to, you know, really go ape shit on anybody just yet.
Crack the whip. Ben, I was going to ask you about that actually, because oddly enough, this is after the Violet, the training camp that CSM put on for Violet. We had thought, and it's still definitely in the works, I guess, of putting together basically a training house, something similar to what you're doing here. And oddly enough, I had thought too, you know, the importance of going to the gym. And I know this might be an odd question, but you mentioned that you have the players go to the gym. Is that actually part of the requirement?
I don't require anybody to go to the gym. It's the option for everyone. Can you guys hear me? My internet feels like being choppy.
Yep.
It is, but it's, I can hear you. Okay, I was just asking because that's something that it just seems like it would be beneficial for gamers because we sit on our asses all day in chairs.
Actually, Ben, you still there?
Sorry.
Okay.
You don't hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Okay, I don't know where I was cut off, but you asked, do I require guys to go to the gym?
Yeah, and then but then I was asking, the reason I asked that is because I always thought that might be something that's important for gamers since we're sitting around all day, and I thought it was odd that you mentioned that.
It is, in my opinion, very important. I don't force it on anybody. I don't feel like I can make somebody go lift weights. There was a time when I was putting all this stuff together, and even when I was talking to the guys, that I was thinking that, you know, I'm not going to make them I'm not going to make them exercise, but I was going to make them spend an hour at the gym every day. Mm-hmm. But I backed off that stance a little bit because, well,
some people just don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just when you're forced to do something,
you don't have the same passion for it.
Yeah, so. Everybody here exercises. We all, you know, either go to the gym or they play football or basketball or soccer. There's physical activity that everybody gets involved in regularly, so they're not just sitting on their asses all day. But it's still, you know, we're still focused on StarCraft. That's their job. Good.
Okay. Sweet.
Paulo, you work out and do that kind of thing?
No, definitely not. But I'll start. It's in our plans. It's in our plans once we get situated to have a schedule and all that stuff. We just haven't gotten to it yet. We're still got a bunch of stuff to do. I'm sure you've noticed Jury hasn't been streaming, so we need better internet, and we're looking for that. And once we have that and the mate that comes already, then we'll be set.
Cool. So Ben, who's all staying in the house right now? Besides, it's just you and Kevin and then the 4 guys. Is that it?
Yep. My girlfriend's also here.
Okay.
But I mean, that's neither here nor there. I mean, she's just here because I'm here. Mm-hmm. Okay. We've got the 4 guys, Kevin, me, and then I've got another empty bedroom, so I could fit more people if I wanted to, and I've been debating what I want to do about that. Right now, I don't have the budget to take on more guys, but we have that space if it were to open up.
Well, you could just like offer it to whoever wants to pay for the space.
Yeah, it's kind of open. Like if somebody wants to come rent the space, like a player wants to come stay for a week or so, I have everything in place for that. But because we haven't really been churning out content just yet, I haven't been pushing it. Basically, everybody's here, everybody's working, but in terms of the production side, it's fucking hard, man. Setting up a studio in your house is expensive and difficult, so. That's kind of slowed us down a little bit, but it's all pretty much done, and you guys should be seeing the first content out of the Razor Academy this week.
Sweet.
Awesome. So
there you go.
Do you pay for food and stuff for those guys? Or?
Yeah, I pay for everything.
Oh wow. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was just board and you know, maybe the tournaments that you send to like the lands and stuff or whatever. But
the players have no expenses. Or no like living expenses if they want to do anything extra, and like their tournament stuff, I don't pay for that. If they're going to play in it, well, if there was something that they just couldn't afford to get to, and I felt like they were playing well, I would send them. But in general, those things they cover. Any like extra fun stuff they cover. But room, board, food, gym, all that stuff is paid for by me.
Wow, that's nice, man. Very nice. You cooking every night?
Yeah. That's why Natalie. Yeah. I mean, that's why your girlfriend's there, right?
Yeah,
John,
I definitely.
John.
No, I was just asking. He just said she was there, you know.
Kidding me? Of course he's right. She just brought me some. She's brought me some eggs and bacon. We've definitely cut back on the nights out.
Right.
Yeah, that'll help save the budget and the weight.
That's awesome. Well, all right. I guess if there's nothing else on the house, Ben, we could maybe jump into maybe brainstorming. I think we usually spend a little bit of time if we have any ideas that we think would be cool to see, the community doing or industry or something in the industry that we could discuss.
Sure.
Anybody got anything? I mean, this is pretty much open forum at this point. So, anybody have an idea? John, I know you always have something.
Oddly enough, today I'm blank. I mean, I can't think straight today. I'd like to see us reach out to different sponsors. And when I say different, I'm not saying like additional sponsors. I mean, I think there's plenty of sponsors, but I'd love to see the community reach out to sponsors that are not traditionally kind of associated with esports, but still reach the same demographic. Like, I've always wanted to see CatZ sponsored by Taco Bell or something. Dead serious. Like, you could eat Taco Bell on his stream and have a burrito and hand out, do giveaways for Taco Bell gift cards. I mean, something like that. I mean, Mountain Dew and Pepsi and Coke, they'll sponsor because it fits the demographic, but I'd love to see a little bit more dedicated interest in esports and not just, trying to get, a little bit more of the same demographic that they've always dealt with. So, I guess
I feel like for stuff like that to work, you really need more localization.
It's probably true.
Taco Bell is really marketable in certain parts of the United States, but do they have Taco Bell in Peru, Paulo?
We had it and it went broke. It's coming back though. I'm bringing it back.
So Peruvians don't care for the American take on the taco.
It's garbage.
Well, I liked it when it was here. I don't know. It had a pretty shitty location before, so I think that's why it failed. It was pretty far away from everything.
Like things like
with like two locals, two stores.
Yeah. Things like TESPA and the Southern California esports movement. That's really exciting for me because, in my opinion, that opens up the doors for new kinds of sponsorship. If you have a lot of people coming into one area, then all the local businesses there have reason to want to be involved. Mm-hmm. So we need more of that before. No, obviously, I'm not saying it's impossible for other sponsors to get involved. I would love to acquire an airline sponsorship. I think that'd be amazing.
Hell yeah.
A deal where the airline just gives away unsold tickets or unsold seats in return for whatever. I guarantee you, StarCraft fans could fill up a Delta flight on an MLG weekend. But it's harder. It's harder to. It's really difficult to do stuff like that.
I mean, speaking of non-endemic sponsorships, I mean, John, obviously you've been closely dealing with the GSL event, right, the SoCal event, and I mean, Bobby, the event director, right, for that event. I mean, the list of sponsorships that he has is insane, right, and a lot of them are basically non-esports related. So, I mean, let's talk about that. I mean, how is he getting those? Let's get a link. Let's get a link with all those sponsors. Oh. Where is it?
Yeah.
Actually, you probably have the link, right?
Yeah, it's thegsl.com, and then you go to the sponsors. Yeah, and it's growing every day. I mean, we just got Mad Catz, Newegg, and then I worked on Abra Media because we'd worked with them. CSN worked with them before, so we were able to get Abra Media to sponsor a booth. I mean, the sponsors page is huge.
Look at the sponsor page. I mean, it's like, a lot of the ones that we've obviously seen, but I mean, there are guys that you don't see, like Dolby's on here, and
yeah, Dolby's a big one because what do they have product-wise that they can offer the esports community? I mean, they do, but it's really in the form of a service more so than a product.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, but I think that the reason, and like Mr. Bitter said, is he's so right on about this too, is that these sorts of events that are more, I say, mid-tier events or something, if they can reach out to sponsors that are in the area. I've always wondered why players or spectators don't get like a player pack. Like it's a bag of goodies when you walk in and you pay for your spectator. Well, we're going to do that at the GSL. But where you get coupons or you get special deals for businesses that are in the area that are like, hey, this is great. I mean, they're bringing in, X number of people. They're having this huge event. Why don't we get involved? And I think the more that you reach out in more of a grassroots way, it will grow beyond that. And then you can get the Taco Bells, and the Pizza Huts and whatnot to consider doing it because they've done it locally. Like I know I can go to Best Buy right now and talk to them about sponsorship because I've done stuff with them locally. And when I was at GGL, we did stuff with them globally as well. But you can go to them and say, hey, what do you think about sponsoring this local event? And then as you do more of those, you can say, hey, we're running this bigger event. I don't know. He's amazing. Bobby is for the SoCal Esports is doing an amazing job at getting these sponsors. I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be 3, 4, 5 more of them by the end of by the time we run the event.
When you're getting local sponsorships, what's like the minimum you think is acceptable, or just what do you think the minimum sponsorship is for something like that? I mean, is it like $50? I mean, is it a couple $100? Or
I'd say a couple $100. Okay. And sometimes it's not always cash either. I mean, like you go to a local restaurant and say, would you be willing to, to sponsor the event by offering up your food at a reduced price, whatever it may be,
or catering the event or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got it.
I mean, you start there, but I don't know. I guess it depends on where they're going to be listed in the sponsor list. I mean, are they going to be a major sponsor? Are they going to have their name on the T-shirt? I mean, one thing I would definitely do is you go to a local T-shirt maker, somebody in the area that does T-shirts, and you say, listen, would you be willing to sponsor this event by providing the T-shirts basically at no cost and allowing them to then have their name on the back of the T-shirt as a sponsor? I don't know. There's all sorts of different things that you can do for local sponsors that you don't always have the same sort of flexibility when dealing with somebody like with Dolby or Red Bull.
Gotcha. All right, let's see. I know you have to go a little bit early today, right, John?
Yeah.
I think you have at 5. So why don't we start some Q&A with the viewers, guys? If you want to call in your questions, add me on Skype. My Skype ID is ChanmanV. Message me your question, and we'll pull you on the call so you can talk to all of us and ask whatever question you have. Folks that don't have Skype or can't do so, just go ahead and type in your questions in the stream chat, and we'll kind of take those in between. Anything in here so far? Let's see.
I had actually somebody PM me a question. It's kind of a question, kind of a statement, I guess. Let me read it here real quick. Okay, so he's wondering why we don't. I mean, I guess the question is more in general to all of us, and maybe more to Mr. Bitter because of his connection with NASL. Running these show matches that a lot of these larger organizations are doing, or just individuals running these large show matches with these top players. When will we see, or is there any idea of a direction to include some lesser-known players in those sorts of things to be able to help build up the community from more of the bottom up as opposed to the top down?
There is that initiative already in most major leagues. It's called qualifiers.
Okay, right, but there doesn't seem to be, and I think his question is, or his statement more is, there doesn't seem to be an emphasis on that or any sort of coverage or content attributed to kind of getting the word out about some of these players that are more up and coming, unless of course they pull a Scarlet and have results to show it. And I know this goes back to, well, results will show, and results at the end will get you your coverage. But I think the question is how do we do that without always having to worry about just results?
You don't.
Okay.
Yeah,
John,
I think that's,
I mean,
No, and I'm just asking. I'm going.
Let me ask you. Would you like to hear a story about some mediocre player that's not very good and doesn't win games?
Depends on the story, to be honest with you.
Players can make names on the ladder and stuff like that, and improve themselves on the ladder. You don't necessarily need like tournament results, but say people like Jayek or Puck are making names of themselves by playing in all this like play him dailies and just laddering a ton and being on the top of the ladder. I think if there's a talented player, they'll get exposure eventually.
Yeah, if there's a player like a rising star, then he'll get there. But I mean, he's got to play. He's got to
work at it.
Or he's got to be compelling in some other way. You know, he's got to have a big crazy personality, or you know, something to make him stand out.
Right.
Yeah, or be creative, like Fitzy here, like Spinishua, or even myself early on.
I mean, like right now at NASL, we've got Lowly playing in the league. You're going to start seeing some content on Lowly because he's fucking 5-0 and in a very hard group. I mean, that's an up and coming player who qualified for the league and is now establishing his name. Yeah, he's
right,
earned
and
it.
he's earned that opportunity for coverage. And I think the question is sometimes these players get missed, even with the results. I don't know. I mean, this is just one of the questions that was posed to me, so I'm just kind of throwing it out there.
Okay, actually we have some callers now. There's a guy, I think that's local to Peru that, oh, can't call him though, unfortunately, because he's not on my contact list. Here's another question for you, Ben, concerning casters. Oh, actually, his mic's went. I'll ask it for him. He says, if possible, Mr. Bitter, what's your opinion on casters like Cat's Pajama, now Kevin Knock, changing their IDs to their actual name? Is that the way the casting should be headed, or is that the way casting or casters are heading, where they actually use their real persona? Like, will you ever start using Ben Nickel instead of Mr. Bitter?
Maybe I don't know. It's honestly it's kind of inconsequential in my opinion. I don't care what Kevin wants to call himself any more than the next guy. It's
just how you want to market yourself, basically.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just I sort of feel like as long as our medium, this online gaming medium, we're always going to have the whole handle attached to our real identity, and so I mean, I don't think it's going to go away. Maybe one day, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. And I don't care one way or another. If you want to call me Ben, you can call me Ben. If you want to call me Mr. Bitter, that's fine too.
Okay, great. All right, here I think this guy from Peru. Now I can call him. So, Javi Gonzalez.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, and you?
Good.
Yeah, my name is Javier. I'm from El Salvador, and I have a question for CatZ.
Hey, he's from El Salvador, not Peru. Not all of Latin America is the same thing, Chris.
Oh well, his questions were top. Oh gosh, all right, whatever.
Like
racist.
Somebody start the witch hunt.
Exactly.
ChanmanV.
I am a racist. No.
Yeah, my question is to CatZ. Like, if he's looking for any like Peru pro gamer like locally.
What, to join Root? No, not particularly. We're not. I mean, to be completely honest, sponsors in Peru, like even like when I pull out my stream numbers, like to work on the sponsorship deck or something like that, like most of my viewers are from the U.S. and Canada, and then I think it's from Germany and then Sweden. So Peru is all the way at the bottom of the list. Getting local players for local sponsorships or local stuff like that just doesn't work. So obviously, if there's a player from Peru like Phoenix who's incredibly talented, or someone who can reach a really high level or be extremely compelling, then yes. But I'm not looking for players based off of their locations too much. Maybe time zone is an issue, but not just particular country.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Javier.
No problem, Javier.
You need to pick up Killer, Paulo.
Killer's in Dignitas, Ben.
I know, but he's awesome.
Yeah, he's cool.
And y'all could speak Spanish with each other.
You should pick up MVP, Paulo.
Yeah. Let's talk to him.
Yeah.
Tom, you there?
Yep. Hello.
Yep.
Will Root, as for CatZ, will Root be looking to recruit established players, or will they go about looking for players that have the potential but unknown yet, as they have in the past?
I think both, mate. We're gonna be looking at both. I mean, we're already looking at potential talent. Like I mentioned on my self interview, it's a lot harder to find talent these days. Just because every time there's less people starting to play the game, as we're in the beta, there are like a lot more people who everyone's new to the game, so it's easier to scout for talent and be like, oh, this guy's gonna be good. Right now, it's like if you're not already good or already on the way to being good, there's a lesser chance that players, like for example, the Pro League might bring in like 6 players, but that's a whole group of players that are starting to play right now that have a lot of potential, and that's proven. So yeah, we will be scouting for potential, but that will be a lot harder, and we will also be looking for established players and personalities as well.
In that case, do you think that more players will appear during like the Heart of the Swarm switchover? New players will rise up?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, like as Root, we're really looking forward to Heart of the Storm. I think we became popular and we became all good in the beta because our team is comprised of like a lot of talented players, and I don't know if everyone was able to continue to put in the right amount of time, but I think creativity and that sort of stuff is gonna pay up again when Heart of the Storm comes out. So I'm sure it will reignite the whole StarCraft scene as well. A lot of people that played the game for a week might be more engaged with Heart of the Storm, or be like, oh wow, like I could have been a pro and might give it another shot in Heart of the Storm. So yeah, we're really looking forward to that, and I think it will be a lot easier to find talent in Heart of the Storm as well.
Thank you. I'll keep rooting
no problem,
for it.
dude. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Tom. All right, Cal.
What a nice guy.
Exactly. All right, Patrick wants to call here. He's on Team Light. He wants to ask his question.
Yo, can you hear me?
Hey, Patrick. What's up?
Not much, man. Just chilling. I have 2 questions. One's for Mr. Bitter. Who are the 4 players in the house, or is that secret?
It's not secret, but I'm gonna wait until Razer posts it on their website before I say them all. Beastie's here. People know that. But
are the other 3?
It's not like I'm not gonna get in trouble for saying it, but I would prefer it to happen on. Well, I would prefer Razer to announce it.
Okay. And are they on sponsored teams, or are they lesser known?
2 of them are on teams, but aren't super well known. One of them more so than the other. The 3rd guy or the 4th guy is completely unknown.
Okay. And then CatZ, have you ever thought about doing like a recruitment tournament for Root? Because I know Slayers used to do that, or they still do every once in a while. They have requirement.
There's a pretty big difference. If you play in the Korean ladder, everyone in High Masters is good. So there's the pool of players and the pool of talent is a lot larger. So yeah, winning a big tournament like that for Slayers is actually significant. Like winning a big tournament with a lot of Masters and Grandmasters. In North America, not so much. So we've looked at that before. When we first started, we were looking at hosting a tournament like that. But I don't think it would be a great idea. Someone could have a good run or cheese his way through, and that wouldn't mean that he would have a good synergy with the team, or that he has the potential or what it takes to, or the commitment. We're keeping it invite only.
I mean, it's not so much about the winner would make your team, because I know the Slayers tournament, they don't guarantee that the winner makes the team, right? They still in the end pick who they want to try out for the team, I think. But I think setting up the environment where, and I've talked, John, I've talked about this right before, like actually hosting a tournament that's about creating at least, an event where there will be scouts there. There will be team scouts there. And in your particular case, just a Root scout, this will be like a Root event or something, right? Where you're guaranteed to be looked at, and again, you'll know if it's cheese, it's a bunch of cheese, and you just disregard this guy, right? But, there could be other players that you could see potential in. And that's, Paul, you've always been known for being a great scout, right? So, being able to scout talent. And, would an event like that help you guys find hidden talent?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, hidden talent, the way you put it, there's no way to go around it. I mean, we can identify talent and then invite them to play with us, and that's a good way to see how they measure against different play styles and different races as well. But yeah, I mean it's not completely out of the question, and there are players who are talented. Like it's just a little bit more rare to see these days, but there are players who are talented, and Complexity, for example, has a Complexity Academy. Going back to John's question earlier, where he was asking me if there's anything to take from my experience in Complexity, we might start our own academy eventually. It's something that we thought about in the beta that never came to realization, and we are looking into that. We already have a couple prospects that we might let into the academy and see how they go from there and how they grow, and then maybe eventually may join the main team as well. So that could be another way to do it.
All right, thanks, Patrick.
Yep.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you.
All right, David's got a question that everybody's asking, Ben, so I know it's going to be a quick answer, but I just figured this is a good answer for everybody's question. David, what's up?
Not too much, just a quick question for Mr. Bitter. I was just wondering if you had any plans on like following Rotterdam's example and joining a pro team anytime soon.
I don't have any. No, I don't have any plans of doing anything like that. I still try to play at a decent level, but I'm much too busy to be taken seriously as a player these days.
Joining a team as like a caster for them?
Yeah, that's a good question. Is there any benefits of joining a team? You know,
that would benefit me in no way whatsoever. And
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
that I'm against doing charity work, but I'm wow, that makes me sound like a fucking dick. But no, I mean I'm up to my neck in esports right now, and I have no interest in joining a team just to market for them.
Yeah, exactly. If I may expand on that, like joining for Mr. Bitter to join a team as a caster would be silly because he gets a lot more exposure as a caster doing NASL than he would ever get from any team YouTube or any content that he could provide for a team. So yeah, I think casters for teams are great opportunities for new casters to pop up and grow because they will have the team's replays and the exclusivity to become famous regardless of whether of how they market themselves. But for Ben, he's already an established caster. It doesn't make much sense.
all right. Thanks, David.
Yeah, thank you.
Just an example, Caleris is a guy who kind of got to a pretty good position by casting for a team. He was working for Mouse Sports, and now he's kind of taken over where Kevin and I were at the ESL.
Mm-hmm.
If I was playing seriously and trying to be a player, then I would look into joining a team. But it doesn't really make any sense for me right now. I wouldn't add anything to the team, and the team wouldn't do anything for me.
Caleris was at CSN for a while too, right, John?
Yeah, he actually did a lot of events for us, and we tried to obviously market him and sent letters to MLG, things I think IPL and stuff like that. But yeah, it's good to see him doing well too. Gwen's next.
Yeah, Gwen's doing a ton of.
Yeah, Gwen's next.
Been working hard, that guy.
But see, again, for people that are trying to say, or people that are trying to asking themselves, like, how do I get to that point? How do I get to Ben's point? How do I get to where CatZ is at today? And they say, well, I got to be this, or I got to do this. It really just takes dedication and work. And Ben has said this every show, and he's right every time. You have to put the time in. It doesn't matter if you're trying to be a personality or you're trying to be the best player. You're going to have to put the time in to do it. You can't just expect it to happen. I can't expect events to just start happening at CSN. I have to actually spend hours putting them together and making sure everything runs smoothly. And if I don't, the result is exactly what it is, which is pure shit. And of course I have to admit to that, and it sucks. But I don't know. It just bugs me sometimes thinking that there are a lot of people out there and they come to we've had some come to CSN like, oh, would you do this? I'd love to do this, I'd love to do that, and then they get here and 2 weeks later it's crickets. You hear nothing from them because they weren't willing to put any work into it. And sometimes you got to do it without any or hardly any pay at all in the beginning. I mean, Gwen doesn't get paid shit.
To expand on that, if I may, for example, there's a writer that we had at Root, and he was the best writer that we ever had, like when the team was young. His name is he goes by the nickname Diesel. His name is Alex, and he was a fantastic writer. He did the best write-ups, and you know, that served them as a platform to then work for Team Liquid and then work for Ghost Gamers as well and write articles for them. And then that served them, like all three of those served him as a platform to get a job in real life as a writer, and he loves it. So now he's actually back in Root, and he's gonna be our like editor-in-chief. So like, yeah, you gotta work your way up and put in the time.
Didn't Railcoon also work for you guys at one point? Like, I feel like didn't he start with Root?
Yeah, Railcoon started as a caster with Root. Yeah.
Alright, let's see, we got Keyhunt's calling in. He was a guest on last week. Kurt.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Kurt.
Hello.
What's up?
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Good. You got a question for these guys?
That I do. Yeah, I mean, I had talked a little bit about this with John, and I think he might have taken it a little bit different way than I wanted to take it. It was, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, John, that's a good point.
Yeah, I may not have understood it all. I had to read it like 4 times.
Yeah, well, you were getting like stuff in your ear at the same time too. I get it, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, my real question is more about the community events and the show matches, because show matches in the end, they are what they are. You're putting in a small amount of money for big players to play themselves in order to try to get viewership. I understand that, but what I'm talking about is things like bar crafts. Community sort of tournaments, which they're getting a lot better lately. And I don't mean to pick on the Sunday night Barcraft for MLG Anaheim that was just announced, but it was just announced, so it's the one thing I could sort of point to, but they're definitely not the only one. They're just going to get singled out here. But I would love to see someone like that who is already investing the money, already has the player backing from the popular player backing. They're already going to get the players that are the people that they need to come to the event to make sure their exposure, to make sure their sponsors are happy. Why don't they make a little time for some lesser-known players, lesser-known organizations, lesser-known casters? I mean, something that's actually truly helps the community rather than just helps themselves. If you understand what I mean by that, because an event for exposure is great. I love doing them. Everybody loves doing them. But if you have that exposure either way, why don't you add a little bit in there for the actual community that's going to help things, rather than just grow yourself.
So like a Barcraft with players that aren't as well known,
mixed in with the players that are well known. So for instance, once again, I'm just going to call for instance the Sunday night Barcraft that was announced for Complexity and EG and Dignitas and TL. They've got a ton of amazing players that people are going to show up for. People are going to show up for Huck. They're going to show up for Idra. They're going to show up for Killer and Sheth or whoever. So why don't they mix in some other players in that? Why don't they mix in players from other organizations? Even better, why don't they mix in instead of bringing DJ Week to the event, bring Gwen to the event. Or you don't have to have a day 9 for that event, because you're already going to get that exposure. That's already there. It's a lot like the Lone Star concept, and that's what I call it. Now it's a lot like that. The Lone Star brought in, 6 or 7 popular players, the rest of which were somewhat unknown, somewhat upcoming players, similar to what the GESL is doing. And they got the numbers because of it, but they also got the exposure for the lesser-known players, and it helped those lesser-known players. I mean, for instance,
how do you pick those players?
I would say it would first off be whoever sort of contacts you about it.
I actually have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Like, you're asking why don't you create more exposure for lesser known players? Why don't lesser-known players win more shit? I mean,
how do you if you say, okay, whoever contacts me first will get invited, that's that's kind of silly. Like there's no way. There's absolutely no way that they can make it so that you can be fair about it. You can I don't know. It's unless you did a raffle.
No, I think at the end of it, you still have to decide. You still have to pick based on personality, based on skill, based on location. I mean, ultimately, if you're running the event like the GESL, or when we're at Lone Star, I mean, yeah, like he says, there are some players that were there. that were lesser known. Honestly, Sleep at that point was lesser known. I mean, there was a lot of people like, who's Sleep? I had no clue who he is. But people that work, okay, this is going to sound weird. Okay, people that work below the big boys, like for instance CSN and Play 'em and stuff, we have a little bit more. We personally have more exposure to players that we see upsetting big names. We see making a name for themselves with results, but maybe they don't have the same personality, maybe they don't stream, things like that. And so I think we have a little bit more access to some of those players, and that's why we, you just basically ask them, are you interested in coming to the GSL? Sorry about the phone. Are you interested in coming to the Lone Star, whatever it may be? And then invite them in, and they play amongst all these big names. And I think the idea of what Kurt's trying to say is that gives these players an opportunity to grow without it being strictly about results. Although results are important.
I don't know if I don't think our current system is perfect, but we've got a pretty fucking good system in place here, where you've got these events like your Playhams, and I always feel bad, but John, you just did it too. But the guys that are maybe a little bit below the big boys, as you say, the MLGs. And the Dream Hacks and all that, you have these organizations that see these other guys on a daily basis that are upsetting good players, and then they invite those players to something. I hate to use the term mid-tier, but Lone Star was not an MLG. It was a fucking awesome event, but they got some guys out there that weren't as well known, and they showed some good results. And then the big players start to notice, and they say, okay, well, maybe I should take note of Sleep and invite him to my event. And it's this whole process. It's the same thing as anything else. I'm not going to promote a lesser known player because he's less known. That's stupid. But if I find a guy that is winning games against really good, like Beastie QT is in my house. He's here not because he's a huge personality or a super successful tournament player, but he's here because he's really fucking good. He's got huge potential, in my opinion. This is me recognizing potential in somebody else that I see and saying, all right, I'm going to try to push him and see if I can get him somewhere further along. And I don't think there's anything wrong with this. So why don't the big people, why don't they push the less known players? Because the less known people are doing that, and it's just this whole chain, this whole process, and I think it works just fine.
It's an ecosystem, right? I mean, there are people. Yeah, I mean,
I think I personally think it works to a point. I think there's more that the big boys, and I say that in quotes or whatever, that the big guys could be doing a little bit differently. But that's just my personal opinion, having ran tournaments and stuff, or tried to foster and cultivate.
Yeah, and I agree with that too, John. But is our current landscape perfect? I would say no. But I think it's really damn good, and I think there's infinite opportunity for somebody. Okay, let's not use the word infinite, but I think there's plenty of opportunity for an unknown talented player to establish himself. I mean, that's why you have stories like Illusion and Scarlet and Sleep and whoever else. Stefano was unknown at one point. Stefano, back a year ago, Stefano played in some European qualifiers, and me and Kevin got to cast him, and we said, damn, this kid's good. And then in IEM China, we're having drinks with Idra and Hasuabs and Elfie, and we said, you know what, Stefano's going to win IPL, and we got laughed at. And now Stefano is the best fucking player outside of Korea, and no one debates that.
I want to call that.
I mean, the tools are all there. It's just the players have to utilize them.
Yeah,
like whenever a lesser known player gets casted too, like it's easy. Like I casted Slivko against Lenok, and as I was casting it, like
fucking awesome.
He's fucking ridiculous. As I was casting it, it was like, wow, this guy's ridiculous. And it was like the opening. It was like, and chat was funny, because it's a clan war, and it's like, okay, well, Slivko has a better opening, like, Lenok is playing too safe, like, Slivko's ahead, and chat's like, what are you talking about, like, Lenok's gonna win, and then Slivko wins, and then it's Slivko's, it's on Slivko to promote himself after that, and be like, hey, like, I'm here, like, and put on his stream, and get the invites and stuff like that, but, like, there are plenty of players that can grow their own brands.
You wanna hear a Slivko story? My favorite. You want to hear my favorite Slivko story?
Yeah.
I've told it on stream and stuff before, so maybe you guys know it, but I'm going to tell it anyway. So, Slivko was at the Intel Extreme Masters event in Sao Paulo, and so all the players and everyone working the tournament was all staying at the same hotel. And our hotel, with all due respect to everything about the event, our hotel was in a really shitty part of town. Like, it was a nice hotel. We had a good pool, and our rooms were cool, but it's not the kind of place that you go, like, walking down the street after 6 p.m., you know, because you're probably not going to have the best time if you do that, you know. So, yeah, you know, people always traveled together, and, you know, we all got cabs together and stuff. You don't just walk off by yourself in that neighborhood in downtown Sao Paulo. Even my Brazilian friend who was showing us around was like, "Oh man, you guys chose a kind of a sketchy neighborhood, didn't you?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I guess so." Anyway, the last night we're in Brazil, we're all going to go out to dinner. So we're all meeting outside of the hotel, and all the players are congregated there, the casters, the ESL staff, my buddy from Brazil, our basically our little guide, and Slivko's there. And we're like, "Hey, Slivko, you going to come to dinner with us?" He's like, "No, I just want to go grocery store." And we're like, "Oh, okay, well, there's a store a couple blocks that way." He's like, "Okay, I go to the store now." I was like, "Whoa, Slivko, it's like 8 p.m. You probably don't want to go by yourself." And he's like, "Psst. No, I want beer and I want potato chips." So he starts walking off, and he's got his wallet in one hand and a really nice camera in the other. We're like, "Slivko, you're gonna get mugged. It's not safe. You can't do this." And he turns around and looks at us and goes, "I'm Russian," and he just walks off into the darkness.
Into the darkness.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And Slivko was fine. The running joke for weeks after that was that he converted that part of Sao Paulo into Russian gang territory. It's now Slivko's part of the woods.
That's awesome.
All right, guys. Well, it was a pleasure. Thanks for the question.
All right, thanks, Kurt.
No problem, bye.
Yeah, I'm not sure we answered it, but
Oh, I think if we had gotten into it more, allowed him to talk more, it could have turned into a very good conversation, to say the least.
there's kind of a follow-up, I guess. This is probably the last caller, and then we'll go into shout-outs. Frag Raptor, he's a regular.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah. So I wanted to. Oh, I guess. I wanted to ask about how do you guys usually determine what's the difference between a minor or a major event? Speaking to like the misconception of like MLG's arena versus the main event, or like the Tesla's Lone Star Clash versus like an IPL or something like that.
I'll start. Actually, probably 5 years ago now, I actually started to outline what I would call the tiers. And I based it off of my experience having been an advanced is a tier, an advanced disc golf player in frisbee golf, frolf, whatever you want to call it.
Wow!
And,
did you just call yourself an advanced frisbee golf player?
Pro frisbee golf player.
That's what I was, actually, because that's how they defined tiers for the players, was based on whether you were an amateur, advanced, or pro. Which some of that stuff definitely needs to be in esports a lot more, and we're missing that hugely. But yeah, that's a good question. But the way I looked at it is I devised and I have this all in documentation. I should share it sometime with probably you, Chris, at least. Mm-hmm. On how you would say, if you had a governing body that would look at different events very much like golf, like the PGA, the actual stick golf is what I call it, where they look at different events and your event is sanctioned to a certain tier based on certain criteria. X number of dollars that are, prize money, X number of, pros that are in the event, things like that, that would allow you to determine whether an event is considered a major, mid-tier, or minor, or something like that. So that's how I would look at it. I would literally have it come down to very specific requirements that need to be made for it to be considered into a certain tier. And that's the best way to do it, because it takes a lot of the subjectivity out of it,
Yeah. I think it's the major three things is a prize pool, player pool, and production. And if you have those three covered, then you're a major event.
I don't really know how I would define a major. I look at the I guess the best way is just money, honestly.
Right.
But it's tough. It's tough because there's a lot of really good events. You've got, you had Assembly last winter, which had tons of really talented players participating. Stefano versus Polt in the final. But it's really hard to call Assembly a major because it's not.
Right.
It's just not like a regularly held event. It's an awesome tournament, an incredibly awesome tournament. But and then you've got DreamHack, which is also not a regularly held event. But I think everybody would call DreamHack a major just because it's DreamHack. It's really tough to define. And then you've got events like you've got the Intel Extreme Masters and the NASL, which are both big events with lots of prize money and a lot of good players, and they kind of fall in the gray area where people aren't ready to say yes, this is a major, no, it's not a major.
I think the way people look at it now, though, is a major is considered somebody that's got $2 million, $1 million backing them, and they're making a big hype and a big marketing scheme. It doesn't mean that they're not major, but I think that the community is so wrapped up into, oh, geez, they're going to have $100,000, or they're going to have, there's this big venue and things like that. And I'm telling you, there have been plenty of events in the past in esports that the community looked at as some sort of, oh, this is just going to be awesome. This is going to be the biggest major event ever. And it was It was a huge flop. It was just a huge flop.
No, never mind.
Complete opposite.
Home Story Cup flop.
But I think the community gets wrapped up into kind of the money behind it. Although I agree, Mr. Bitter, the money is a determining factor. But I mean, you can have all the money in the world. You could have $50 million in VC and not really do shit for the community.
Yeah, I think maybe exposure is a better way to classify. Like Home Story Cup is a good example of that. I think Home Story Cup is a major event just because a shitload of people watch it.
Man, you can't call Home Story a major. Any event where all the participants are drunk 90% of the time can't be a major.
and then again, that goes to putting some sort of structure in place that defines that. I mean, obviously.
And Home Story is awesome. It's my favorite event of the year. I can't wait for the next one. But so I hope if Dennis is listening that he's not offended by me saying so. But it's just.
It's the magnitude of the production. I think that's what defines a major.
You know what? If I had to say X defines a major, I would say the community defines a major.
I'd be careful of that.
Therefore, Home Story Cup is, I mean...
Yeah, by that logic, Home Story Cup qualifies, right? But,
yeah.
With that, I mean, that's like saying just anything popular is a major then, right? I mean, that's... Probably not true. I mean,
but you know what? With this whole exclusivity thing with Kesp and all that, it's possible that a year from now we'll be saying, well, the only thing that's the major is the one that have the best players in it, and that's the one that has the exclusive deal with the Brood War team.
But it doesn't necessarily have to have players in it. I mean, MLG Arena had a bunch of good players in it, right? Yeah, I know, CatZ.
Drew's comment. Drew's comment on the chat.
You know what? That's I can live with that.
Is it a major if you get to pick your first opponent? I don't know. Just asking. I mean, format matters. All of those things matter, I think. And that's why, for me at least, and that's just because I do things like this is what I like to do, I guess, I just wrote it all out. I mean, I literally wrote each tier level and what would be required and the percentage of, you can't call it a major event. You can have all the money in the world. You can't call it a major event and half the players don't show up to play in it. Or if there's a bunch of forfeits. And does it have to be online? Does it have to be live? I mean, there's a lot of different things that you could put in place. But for me at least, looking forward, I mean, just because it's what I do, I equate esports more into, it's very similar to the way golf is set up, or PGA, or even tennis.
Yeah,
and so,
tennis is a good one.
Yeah, so you have to have that structure in place. I mean, we're doing things, and it's very set up like tennis, but we do need a little bit more of that structure. And then people are asking, well, why? Why would we need to classify it? Well, I mean, I understand. I mean, maybe you don't see there may not be a great reason, but I think the reason is great structure.
There is a great reason.
For me, I agree.
Carmack is somebody that has a really incredibly enlightened view on this. So I guess you should probably have on your show sometime, Chris.
Yeah, definitely.
But you know, if I'm going to use the bunny quotes beside my face right now, but y'all can't see it. If every quote major tournament organizer got together and said, "Hey, we are the majors, and we're going to have a global ranking system, and every time a player finishes in such and such a position, he earns points, and if he doesn't, he loses points." And now you have a global ranking system, and now you have global seeding for every tournament, and players show up and they're seeded into every single event. Like, you're going to tell me that's bad? That's fucking awesome. But that requires a high level of
partnership.
Well, you need a governing body for one.
Maybe not even partnership, but just a high level of coordination between the big tournament bodies. But something like that's ultimately what I think we need. I would love to see something like that. Carmack's got that all written up. He's pitched it to Sundance and I think to David Ting, but I don't know if it'll ever come together. I kind of doubt that it will, because right now all the American tournament organizers are trying to kill each other, and well,
yes.
Until there's some separation, until there's like on each continent one major player, I don't think we can do that.
Yeah, just need governing bodies on each continent and everybody can still do their own thing with tournaments, and that would.
Which is again very similar like tennis or golf.
Yeah.
I mean, they all have their own tournaments. They do it. You just have somebody that kind of says, okay, these tournaments we're going to consider on the major circuit. These can be considered on the mid-tier circuit, whatever it may be, and you try to. They can still run it how they want to run it as long as it fits into the criteria. But together you can come up with some sort of end of the year championship or something.
Yeah, but again, I think this whole classifying major. I mean, being a major doesn't mean you're successful. You know what I mean? But I think it's important to have majors as cornerstones. For the year. Just have these cornerstone tournaments for the year, and I think it's really good for everybody, the community, and the industry to have those things. But I think there are plenty of successful, popular, other popular tournaments too, and people that are, I think some of these majors aren't the most efficient, given when it comes to just having the player pools, and there's a lot of. I feel like a lot of the exposure and viewers that they draw are overlapped, and I think a lot of these smaller tournaments like Lone Star and I think Lone Star did the best job. I mean, GSL, that tournament, there's a lot of big names. I feel like there's even some overlap there. But Lone Star Classic, I feel like was like the bare minimum you could have, with that formula and actually have a successful product. And so I think there are a lot of other smaller events that are, it's making it possible for them to, to be more efficient, to actually still come up with a comparable product, versus these kind of quote unquote major events. So I think, my point is popular events is different than major events. So it's definitely a big difference.
Changing the minds of thousands of fanboys is difficult to do.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Frag Raptor, thanks for the call.
See ya.
Thanks for the question. Great question. Good question. Good guy. He's a regular. I think he's a regular on a lot of people's streams too. So, but okay, why don't we wrap things up? Let's do some shout-outs. When we start with you, Paulo. Got any shout-outs?
Yeah, to my team and my friends.
Shout out to Mr. Beater.
Yeah. Mr. Beater.
Sounds like a beer. Mr. Beater.
Doesn't sound like a good one either. Like
bitter beer face.
Follow us on Twitter and Facebook and all that shit.
Root Gaming, go Root. Okay.
Would you like? Okay, there we go. Now we're talking.
Well, it's not up yet, but it's
True.com/ROOTCatZ.
Who did the again? Who did the logo for you guys?
It's explained on the thread, I think, but it's an artist that I saw on Reddit actually. He drew a stalker being chased by Marines, and I thought it was amazing art, and I just really liked the style. So
Are you
Again,
still
like, go ahead.
Are you still creating art, Paulo?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've done all the overlays and stuff that we're gonna be using on our streams, and I help with the design of the logo. I help with a little bit of input in the design of the website, but mostly that's our friend John
Not much
Miller.
of a friend.
Well, just met him not long ago.
All
But
right.
he's a great guy, and he's an amazing designer. And so,
Well, I
yeah,
love the logo, by the way. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a rework of the old one. It's a different take, and it looks a lot better. So yeah, that guy is pretty amazing.
Root 2.0, baby. That's cool.
Yeah.
Ben, you want to go next?
Sure. Shout out to you, Chris, and to every community project like this one. It's how you grow esports, by doing things like this. Please follow the North American Star League, NASL.TV. That's where you see our nightly live broadcasts, and it's the best league in the world, so go check it out. Follow me on Twitter.
It's the only league.
It's the only major. It's the only major that matters.
It's the only actual league. You're the only one that's running a league, which is exactly what the esports needs.
Very true.
Everyone else is running tournaments or events, or in the case of some of them, WWE events. You guys are running a league. That's good stuff. I'm sorry, I'm just going off.
Hey, you go off all you like as long as it's not at my expense. It's me just fine.
No, I just baffles my mind. Okay.
Yep. Go follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/MrBitterTV, and that's all. I'm going to be streaming all week, so 100
awesome.
games of StarCraft, I promise.
100 games. All right. Good stuff.
And make sure everyone looks forward the coverage coming out of your house.
That too. That's important. I need people to watch that so that Razer can be like, all right, this wasn't a waste of our money.
Is that gonna be soon? Like some of these announcements on the Academy?
Yeah, I hope so. Hopefully, hopefully tonight, tomorrow.
Okay, good. So real soon. Cool.
Yep.
John.
All right. Shout out to the Lone Star Clash guys again, because we keep bringing them up, and I think we're doing that because they did some good work. And shout out definitely to the guys for SoCal Esports and the Gigabyte LAN that's going to be coming up after MLG Anaheim. Shout out to all the people that tuned in today. Thank you for doing so, and for all those fanboys out there, we'll keep working you. And then I guess a shout out for our big event tonight, which is going to have CatZ on it. I'm surprised you didn't say anything. It's the CSN All-Stars show match, and it will be Dragon versus CatZ. That will be tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. It's a best of 7. And since I work for CSN, I can't choose a winner, but go CatZ. So. Right. All right.
No bias or anything there.
And I've got I'm putting the link to the information in the chat. So.
Good stuff. And it's going to be casted by Gwen and.
No, this one is Promise and Axel Toss.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, you'd expect Wayne because he cast everything.
Yeah, it seems like it for you guys. Yeah.
Axel Toss and Promise.
Yeah, 2 good guys. Awesome. Yeah. All right, I just wanted to thank obviously Paula for being on. It's great to have you on, and good luck tonight. I think it should be an interesting show match with Dragon. Again, as always, big thanks to John and Ben for co-hosting with me.
Thank you.
So it wouldn't be the same without you guys, and obviously, for viewers, big thanks for you guys watching us. Obviously the show wouldn't be the show without people watching. So hopefully you guys keep watching, and we keep having guests that you guys want to see on here and talk about issues that are that need to be discussed. Next week we're gonna have David Ting, General Manager of IPL, on here, so it should be some interesting stuff to discuss with him. And I wanted to get Roddy on here too. I have like Bitterdam on here, so I have to talk to Kevin about that. But
Rooterdam, please.
Yeah, sorry, Rooterdam.
Rooterdam.
I just feel dirty saying Rooterdam. Yeah, so next week should be a great one too. So hopefully you guys check it out. Lots of IPL things to talk about with David. But yeah, I think that's it for now. Big thanks to my mods for helping out in the chat. I mean, the chat was pretty good. I mean, very nice today. And yeah, I think we'll call it a day. So that's it for Climbing the Ladder for this week. We will see you next week. Later.
Thank you.
Peace. Bye.
See you.
All right.